Peace, everybody. Welcome back to my podcast. I appreciate you all for joining me once again. This is episode 3, season 2. Wow, we are definitely going a long way, guys. Today we got a special guest here again, Miss Tiara, Alicia. Tiara, say hi.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Today we're going to talk about dreams. I know we mentioned in our last podcast that we're talking about dreams, and so it's finally here. So we have some questions to ask each other, and we're going to just go back and forth and kind of build and dialogue a little bit. Okay, Tiara. So first question for you is, why do you think we dream?
So from my recent discoveries, I've dove really deep into Carl Jung's work, because he was a psychologist from way back when, but he was also a mystic, which a lot of people really don't speak to, but he had a lot of mystical beliefs embedded within his way of interpreting the psyche. So I believe we dream because our certain aspects of our consciousness are trying to speak to us. It's almost like the collective unconscious or our personal unconscious is speaking to us in the form of different visuals or metaphors or so on and so forth. And from those visuals and metaphors, we sort of have to decode and demystify what these different symbols mean, what these different stories and archetypes mean, for us personally, but also it could be on a collective level as well. And I just think that the beauty in that sort of discovery is what you'll find a lot of depth in terms of who you are, what you came here to do. It just is really your soul speaking to you on a different level.
I agree. To piggyback off of that, I definitely agree with that as well. I believe, and this is how I interpret dreams as well. I believe that your subconscious and your conscious mind are at a battle in a sense, because you walk around using your conscious mind and not your subconscious mind. And, because you're not telling your heart to beat, you're not telling your lungs to breathe, it's automatically doing it itself, right? It's your subconscious.
Exactly.
So I think that when you dream, your subconscious wants you to heal from a lot of things that's happening in your life, like any trauma or any pain or anything like that. And your subconscious wants you to heal from that, right? In a sense, your conscious mind doesn't want to deal with that, right? Let's just think about in the aspect of pain, right? A lot of people don't want to confront their issues, their pain, their trauma. No one wants to confront that because it's kind of hard to see. It's a lot of emotions and you don't want to feel it. But your subconscious is like, no, we need to feel this pain because we need to figure out what's going on and how can we fix it. Let's move forward, right? So I think your subconscious is the growing part, right? It's the part that you is growing, constantly trying to evolve into something better. Your conscious mind is trying to make you forget it.
Yes.
And learning, I figured that out years ago, and when I went to go do Reiki healing, and I was able to figure out, the Reiki was able to figure out a lot of trauma and pain that I went through in my lifetime, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even remember this stuff happening. I kind of blocked it off, so I think that if you when you dream, your subconscious will tell you things subliminally, like having weird dreams. It might put codes in your dream, might give you numbers, and it will help you have to decipher when you come out of your dream. And it does that because it doesn't want you to put it doesn't want to put the information straightforward in your head, straightforward, because your conscious mind will forget it, will say, oh nope, that's not what's going on. It is not what's actually happening. Forget about it. Don't even think about it, because your conscious mind doesn't want to go through pain, right? And also on a different aspect of dreaming, I think we dream on a spiritual level. You can talk to your ancestors, talk to your spirit guides, you can astral project. I know when I dream specifically, and I hear a lot of questions asked towards me, since I'm a medium, a lot of people DM me every day and say, hey, did you ever dream about me? Did anybody, my ancestors, contact you in your dreams? I was like, no, they really do not contact me in the dream form. I know you can probably go to a dream oracle and do that for a dream oracle. They contact me through my waking life. So when I'm dreaming, I actually get sent to something called the lower realms, right? And it's a higher and lower realms, right? The lower realms is something different. It's a whole different world. In this world, it looks just like Earth. It's just like how you see it outside, right? If you look outside your window, this is how it sees. But there's always some things happening in this world. There's always chaos. There's something always happening. And I know I mentioned this back in our clubhouse days that I get sent to the lower round to basically help people,
Yeah.
right? And I've been going there since I was a kid. I don't remember any time that I've never been there. And I was able to even talk to people that have known me going back there, all my life, and give me details on what I'm doing there, who am I, how long I've been here, place, stuff like that. So I think that there's two different. It's a like really open question, right? Really, why do we dream? I think it's on a spiritual level. It's also to help with healing as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to speak on that, like what you were saying in terms of our conscious mind versus our unconscious, I think they both have different objectives and different goals. I see our conscious mind being like connected to our ego, right? And the ego's main purpose is survival. It's there to protect us. And sometimes it doesn't always do that in the way that is propelling us forward in life. Whereas like our unconscious is more connected to like our true self, our soul, and that their main goal is to evolve us forward, propel us forward through our soul's evolutionary experience, like through this life journey. So yeah, I think it's interesting though that you said, when past loved ones, people that have passed away, don't show up for you in dreams, because I do notice them showing up in mine. Why do you think that they show up for you in your waking state? Because I do know that you have to be in a slower brainwave state to even receive things on a metaphysical realm, right? You have to be like in alpha or theta brainwave state. So would you say that your conscious self is in that state more throughout the day, if that makes sense? I hope I'm making sense with my question, but
no, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So how I communicate with my ancestors or other people's ancestors or other spirit guides is I actually have to kind of raise my vibrational level, right?
Okay.
The frequency, because everything vibrates at a certain frequency. That's how we connect with different things, right?
Yeah.
So spirits vibrate at a higher or lower frequency. So when I'm able to contact my spirit guides, my ancestors, or maybe just your ancestors or your spirit guides, right? I would have to raise my frequency to match them in order for me to contact them. So throughout the day, I might do a meditation and raise my frequency. It doesn't happen all the time, but I might open up my third eye, raise my frequency throughout the day, just because, and I will get messages from my ancestors or someone's information, ancestors or what have you. So that's how my conscious mind kind of, and that comes from my subconscious mind, right? That this leaked out through your subconscious. So anytime you kind of talk to spirits or talk to your ancestors or whatever, you're getting that information, you're getting that ability from your subconscious. So in that sense, my subconscious mind is actually taking control of it all. Right? I'm actually walking with my subconscious. So that's how I'm able to do it. And that's why they always tell you, any medium, before you do a session, you always have to meditate, because you have to kind of awaken that sleeping giant, right? Wake up and let's open our eyes now. Open up your third eye. Open up your subconscious, right? So that's how I do it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so next question. So now we know about dreams and your perception of dreams, and also my perception of why we dream. Next question is, how can we use our dreams to better our lives? Like, what can we do? Is there any information we can write down? Is it how do we do that? And what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, awesome question. I think it's actually a lot easier than like what people perceive it to be. Because, some people see dreams as just like these, meaningless, nuanced occurrences that like make no sense and they have no correlations to anything. But, and that's very, very surface level. But when you hit it with a like deeper perspective, and you really break down the pieces of the puzzle, you can see that our dreams represent certain things that are going on in our waking life. But I think the first step is also like kind of synonymous with, like you were saying earlier, sort of raising your vibrational frequency, being familiar with the state of being in your subconscious or your unconscious. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you have to become really sort of familiar and used to being in that state, because that is the state where you're going to receive your dreams more and also remember them. So
Right.
I think like number one is, it starts before bed. Like, you really have to cultivate this routine for yourself that's going to help you slip into deeper states of consciousness, that's going to help you raise your vibrational frequency before going to sleep. If that looks like a certain way for you. And then once you do that and you wake up the next day, I think it's about like remembering your dream first thing when you wake up, like on a soul level, writing down everything you remember from that dream without the filter of your conscious mind sort of trying to come in and interject and give you meaning to certain things, or sort of write off certain things as meaningless, before you even like wake up fully, if that makes sense. Because I've noticed myself, like if I have a dream that's sort of unpleasant, I'm not always like super inspired to like want to remember what happened in the dream or like everything that occurred, because it's obviously just an unfavorable storyline that just happened like in your head. And sometimes the ego or the conscious self is like, yeah, we don't want to touch that, that's scary. It's like, we need to survive here, like this is not okay. But you have to look at it from another perspective, and the perspective that like your subconscious is showing you this because it's a metaphor of what else is happening in your life. It might be very dramatized, and it might show up in a way that is like really fearful, like you were saying earlier. Like, it will literally put your fears right in front of your face, and you just cannot deny the experience of it.
Right.
So that's why I think it's really important to like be super aware and conscious in your subconscious state, and then recognize, what happened, who was there, what animals, what elements you saw, what feelings and emotions you had. Literally write everything down. Because that's going to just cause you to be more receptive, sit in that subconscious frequency, raise your vibration, etc., etc. And then after that, I usually take a moment to like either get into meditation if I'm having trouble with said dream, or I'll analyze it right away and look at the different symbols, break down what they mean for me, who showed up for me, what sort of archetype they represent in my life, the feelings and emotions I had, the places that I was, elements that showed up, like whether it was water, earth, fire, things like that, because they all mean something. And even if you don't necessarily have a personal meaning for this given motif, you could always look it up. You know what I mean? Like, I have different like oracle card books that represent certain symbols and animals that I always reference. I go online and reference what other people say about certain dream symbols, and you really just kind of have to look at it and see what resonates with you in correlation to what you're experiencing life at the moment. And then sort of interpret it from there and form like a hypothesis of, what this possibly could mean in your life. Because it's not always going to be, you're not always going to hit it spot on, especially if you're first like starting out with this. It's sort of one of those things that you get better and better with over time, but you can sort of form a hypothesis and see like what this sort of story represents and what the parallels are in your waking life. And then after that, I live my life. A lot of times signs and synchronicities will pop out at me. Like, if I dreamt about a certain animal, I might encounter that certain animal the next day. Like, somebody might have a tattoo of it, at the coffee shop in front of me. Or, it'll pop up. Maybe it's like something I see in a movie or something I hear in a song. You know what I mean? You'll notice those parallels pop out at you more. And that's kind of a hint from your soul to pay attention to that more. And then you can kind of like really form that conclusion as to what this means and like how this is going to help you evolve and like basically what to pay attention to, what's holding you back. It's basically a form of shadow work.
Right.
Dream work is a form of shadow work. So that's kind of how I've been doing it lately.
And you kind of do all that steps into interpreting your dreams. I know you have a dream journal as well, right? So
yeah,
you go through. You want to talk about how you basically just write down, how you felt, what was the scenery, the colors and things like that, any sounds or tone that you heard of anyone that was
exactly.
talking to you. So that helps you determine exactly what it is. And do you? This is kind of another question. And do you? Every time you write down your dream, right, do you have a hard time interpreting it at first, and then you kind of go back after a couple of days or after a couple of dreams, go back and say, you know what, actually this dream is actually connected to this one, so maybe this is a deeper meaning? Like, does that ever happen to you?
Yes, all the time. Yeah, like it really depends on the dream, but there are certain like symbols or people or places that will show up for me reoccurringly. And I keep a physical dream journal as well as like I have a template made on an app that I use called Notion. So I can literally like filter through and look at all the dreams where a certain place popped up or a certain person popped up. And kind of like review those dreams and see how they're connected. And a lot of times I'll kind of complete that puzzle, because dreams are kind of beautiful in this way of like they can be a complete story and movie and puzzle on their own. But then when you start to put those puzzle pieces together with like other stories, they sort of all connect in this beautiful way. Kind of just like all of us living on Earth, really. We all have like our own individual stories and life journeys, but then they all intertwine with other people's, and it's kind of just like this beautiful experience. And that's exactly how dreams work too. So yeah, I definitely keep track of it in my journals. And I kind of write it out as if I'm directing a movie or I'm the one writing a story or writing a book. I just like to write it with as much detail as possible, as if I'm not even like the main character. Sometimes I'll take myself out of the story and sort of just write it from like an objective point of view too, because that will really help sort of take yourself out of the point of being the main character and being the subject of like, this is what had happened to me, and this is sort of just like, okay, this is what happened in this story, now how does this apply to my life?
Right. I do the same thing. So as I was talking about how your subconscious and your conscious mind kind of battles with dreams, and your subconscious is trying to tell you actually the truth, his mind is trying to lie to you, right? So I believe that your subconscious is telling you any pain or trauma that you're experiencing or have experienced. And when people hear me say pain or trauma, they think that something direly needs to happen to you. That's absolutely not true. Something can happen to you at work where you might be stressed out from work. You can consider that pain or trauma. If small things happen to you, you can consider that pain or trauma. It doesn't have to be a magnitude. So when people hear trauma, they think that something really has to happen to you, really big on a grand scale, and that's not absolutely true. So anything that you go through that it doesn't allow you to move forward with anything else, you can consider that trauma or pain, right? So I think using your dreams, like you said, I also write down my dreams as well, to a certain extent. Sometimes I'm able to interpret my dreams off the bat. As soon as I wake up, before I start to, like you say, my ego starts to come in, and my conscious mind starts to tell me what is the reason why, and starts to lie to me, right? So I start to write them down really quickly, or quickly hurry up and try to interpret it as fast as I can, and it tells you a lot of things that's happening with your life at the moment, right? And it took me a long time to figure this out. Years and years of having dreams, and I was always frustrated with my dreams, in the sense of, I was like, what does this dream mean? There's got to be a reason why I'm having this dream. There's got to be a reason why there's a duck with a helmet on and a
Right.
pitchfork and tattoos on his neck. Like there's a reason why, right?
Yes.
So I was like, you cannot tell me. And I talked to a lot of elders, and they tell me, oh, the elders tell you, oh well, the dreams happen because of you're at rest and your brain just wants to wander. Like, no, I didn't believe that. I didn't want to believe that. Like, there's got to be a meaning. So I got into being able to interpret my dreams. So that's why I'm able to interpret a lot of people's dreams now. And a lot of people always contact me about interpreting their dreams and stuff like that. And it's like you said, it's actually not as hard as you think it is. You just kind of you can't. You got to be outside of the box looking in, and
Yep.
when you're looking at your dreams and you can't, it's hard for you to interpret. It's because you're on the inside looking out, right? And
Yeah.
so your field of vision is very, very small. So whenever someone tells me their dream, I always like to tell them, hey, send me a voice message or call me on the phone and tell me your dream. Because as you're telling me, I'm actually picking up, as an empath, I'm picking up on your emotion. I'm asking you questions. What do you smell? What do you hear? What do you see? The only reason why for that is that I kind of want to walk through your dream with you. I want to
Yeah.
actually relive that dream for you. So when you write them down, you actually can go back and relive the dream.
Yep.
So just like you saying, write down as much information as you can, because that will help you go back into the dream. Because you can forget the dream. Like, I don't remember the dreams I had last week, let off 3 days ago. So I got to write it down to figure out what did I felt, what are my emotions and how I felt in that time, right? So when I write them down, I can relive it, and that can help me move forward. It's like, okay, I'm having dreams about this because something's going on with work and it's actually stressing me out, and I need to overcome it, or I'm not going to move forward. I'm going to continue to be stumped and live in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, how can I say this? As we live in society, we always have to do a lot of things, right? We can't just all just live. Unfortunately, this is not how the world is created now, where our ancestors just lived for themselves or for each other. Right now, we have to work. We have to do this. We have to do that. We have to pay bills. We have to stay social. We have to do a lot of things, and that causes a lot of stress, a lot of pain. It could be cause a lot of trauma, and people don't really realize how much that's causing you. And until you start interpreting your own dreams, and you're like, hold up, I didn't know that just because I misspelled that word in that email to my higher up boss, that could cause some problems. It's like you're you're using your dreams to figure out what's going on. So just to piggyback off what you were saying, use your journals. I tell everybody all the time, write down your dreams, guys. I'm telling you, that's going to help you move forward. If you want to stay where you're at, you don't want to move forward, absolutely do not write it, right? You're obligated to do exactly what you want to do. But if you want to grow and move forward as a person, use your dreams to fix the pain, the trauma that you've dealt with or you're currently dealing with. Writing down your dream is definitely ideal.
Yeah.
So I know that tied that into dream interpretation as well. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I just have a question for you
Yep.
in terms of dream interpretation. So I know a lot of people come to me for dream interpretation too. Not necessarily because I put it out there like I'm a dream interpreter, but just because I've done so much studying and I'm able to do it really easily for other people.
Right.
So, like easier than my own self, to be honest. So I was wondering if that was the same for you. Like, do you find it easier to interpret dreams for other people rather than yourself?
I find it easy to, yes and no. I find it more challenging in which I like it, and more exciting to see. I like to pick people's mind to see why they do things, why they think a certain way, stuff like that. So when I hear people tell me their dreams, it's more of that passion comes out, right? I get very excited, and I can easily just start telling you, okay, this is the reason why you had that. This is the reason why you had that, just from what you say. To say that it's easier if I interpret my dream, yes, I can say I could do it quicker. Let's just say that I can interpret my dreams as soon as I wake up. If it's easier for me to interpret, I can probably tell you some of my dreams, and it's probably hard for you to interpret, or hard for somebody else to interpret. But for me, it's like, I can do it really quickly, and it's okay. But me interpreting somebody else's dream is very exciting. Get that feeling that I'm actually going to help them, right? It's like, uh, as you know, you've helped a lot of people in your life as well. That satisfaction that you get when someone feels like, okay, thank you for actually walking me through this. Thank you for letting me see what's going on. So I would say yes and no that I will. I find it easier to interpret my dream, and no, I don't find it easier to interpret my dreams to a certain extent. To a certain extent, I see that because I will tell you this: I will have some dreams that it will have me stumped for like a week, and
Same.
I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Like I'm looking back at what I wrote, and I'm like, hold up, your handwriting is sloppy. I don't know what's going on because I have my notepad exactly on my dresser, or it's like a side table actually, right next to
Same.
my bed. So
Yep.
as soon as I wake up, I kind of rolled over, opened up my notepad, and
In
started
the dark.
writing in the dark, right, or whatever, right? And
Yes.
you can barely see. You got one eye open because you don't want the glare of any light to come in to disturb you.
Yeah,
And
that's another thing
right,
too. Like, yeah, if you can do it like within that moment where there's not a lot of light coming through, because when light touches your body or touches your retina, like you start to wake up more and more, and parts of
exactly.
your dream start to leave.
Exactly, and then it starts to become foggy, and people have realized, and the people out there, all of my audience listening, when you start to write down your dreams, you're going to start to find it harder and harder to get to the end. That's because your actually conscious mind is waking up, and then what's going to happen is you're probably going to look back at what you wrote, and at that moment you're going to now, I don't remember this. I don't remember this happening. Like, and then throughout the day, try to remember exactly what you wrote down. You won't. You have to keep go back and look at. That's your subconscious. I'm sorry. That's your conscious mind putting that cloak over your eyes, saying, "Okay, nope, we're not going to deal with this right now. Let's deal with this." Right. I was going to say. I think I forgot. Brain fog. I'm sorry. I'm brain fog right now.
It's all good. Mercury's about to go retrograde.
Oh man, it is. It's going in right now. It's going in.
Yep.
So yeah. So using your dreams, guys, and using it to take control of what is actually happening and walk in your shoes. Like, if you're having some problems in your life, it's going to show up in dreams. Absolutely, it definitely is. I don't doubt it. It always happens, right? And if you're having real high stress, let's just say from work. I always say work because work is very, very stressful for everyone, unless you have like a really great job that you love and stuff like that, which is fine, but it can still be stressful. Even if you own your own business, it will still be stressful in a sense. So I always use job as a stressful time. If you're really high stressed, right, that's going to show up in your dreams. And also, to go back to what you were saying, I liked what you said, putting yourself at a good mindset before you go to bed, right? Try meditating before you go to sleep to calm your mind down, to kind of wash off all the energy that you receive throughout the day, all the thoughts and stuff like that. Any negative thoughts that you thought about yourself or any situation, kind of let that go, right? Because that kind of shows up in your dreams, and you don't want that to interfere with a lot of things, because going in trying to interpret your dream and you're having a lot of different mixed emotions can cause you to kind of misinterpret your own dreams, because you'll be kind of conflicted on what was actually feeling, what you're feeling, and what was actually happening. You're kind of messed that up, right? So always keep yourself at a calm level before you go to bed. Do a little small meditation, 5-10 minutes, whatever you want to do, or do some good breath work before you go to bed, guys. It is definitely ideal. Do you have any tips and tricks to help them out during that time, or before they go to bed, or after they wake up?
Yeah. So I find for a lot of people, like, well, I'll put it this way. Some people, it's a lot easier to like get into that restful state than others. So like I'm one of those people that like it doesn't take much at all. Like I can fall asleep, really quickly at the end of the day. But for other people that it's a little tougher, or maybe I've talked to a lot of my close like friends, family who say that they sometimes don't even dream, like they can't even remember the last time they had a dream. So I know that there are different like teas and herbs that promote like deep restful sleep and dreaming, that I have used myself in the past, and I do realize that they definitely work. Like I've had some really deep vivid dreams, or I'll have even multiple dreams in one night, just drinking off of like a certain tea or herb. Trying to remember the name of the one I would use reoccurringly. Can't remember at the moment. It'll probably come to me later on in the video. But there's like sleepy video. Oh my God, you know I film YouTube videos.
Yeah. It's okay. I know what you meant. I got you.
Yeah, I'm like, you know I film YouTube videos when I just say video. So yeah, there's definitely like sleepy time teas that have all of these different like herbs and stuff in them. I say just give it a shot, as long as they're not interfering with like any other medications that you're taking. You know, of course, talk to a health provider or like a physician about it first. But they can be really helpful. Like, don't underestimate the power of like herbs, or just having some sort of external source to kind of help you get into like a deep restful sleep. Crystals, even, you can sleep with one under your pillow.
Yeah,
I've definitely done that before. Yoga before bed is also really nice if you like if you have a hard time meditating, but you still want to like slow the mind down, slow the breath down. Yoga's really good for that too. So,
right. I see yoga as another form of meditation as well. It is another form. To kind of piggyback on what you were saying as well, I think that having a well-balanced diet, let's just say that, that can help with dreams. Keeping yourself healthy, guys, is very, very key. Let's just say this, I'm 31 years old this February. I'm 31 years old. And my body has been keeping me alive, working every single day nonstop to keep me alive for 31 years. And why would I want to disrespect myself by putting something in my body that is not for its greater good? So that's why I think people should actually put that forward. Like, hey, your body's working hard, and you're kind of going to disrespect it if you keep putting things in your body that's not going to go well for it. So you have a well-balanced diet. Know exactly what you're eating, how you're eating, stuff like that. That can help you with dreams. I know a lot of people who have problems with dreaming and get into that deep sleep, like you said. They could have a really high fatty diet, right? And that can cause you not to go into that deep sleep. But a remedy that also teas, like you said, is really great. So any type of sleepy time, bedtime or sleepy time teas that you see out there, it's really great. Use some oils, putting your body at rest, like lavender, eucalyptus, stuff like that, to kind of calm your nerves down a little bit. Also, taking black seed oil. I know that taking black seed oil before I go to bed, for me personally, puts me right at ease, and it helps me get into a deep sleep as well. Of course, I use meditation, but sometimes if I don't want to meditate, just want to get to bed, I'll take some black seed oil, wait a couple, like 30 minutes, let it take effect, and it actually puts me down at a great sleep. And also, when you wake up, you want to feel rejuvenated as well, right? You don't want to be groggy, which a lot of people do, right? This happens when you wake up and you're still extra sleepy. So, So yeah, I mean, that's I think that's all the questions that I have. You have any more questions, Tiara?
Let me think. I do, actually.
Okay.
So I don't know. You don't have to answer this either. If it's like touchy, totally understand.
Okay.
But have you ever had dream experiences on like any psychedelics, or at least any like memorable experiences you had that were significant to you?
Using psychedelics?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I know that I was supposed to do that with a friend, do it together. Just, put a little bit in some tea, just a little bit, and just, see how that works out for us. We never got around to do it, but I've heard some great things from there. I know a lot of people who still do them. A lot of mediums that I know as well do it. When they're trying to go into a deeper understanding of the spirit realm itself. Let's just say that. the spirit realm itself is a very, very, very different place, and people got to realize that it's not. It's very big, and it's different, right? So, and I know that they want to get a better understanding, so they use them. But me personally, I have not yet, but I plan on doing it. What about you?
I've only gone as far as like microdosing.
Okay.
And it's not like I, took a microdose and then went to sleep during that like prime time. I think it was like 4 hours.
Right.
Is when it's like in the height of it. But obviously, like at one point in my life, I was sort of microdosing on a regular basis, like following a certain protocol. I feel like then is when I started to get more precognitive dreams, like premonition dreams. That was like the only thing I noticed. I was more intuitive during, those times, but of course I know that like certain things like that, and I was microdosing shrooms, by the way. I don't know if I disclosed that.
No, you didn't.
So yeah, just shroomies.
Yeah.
I think it was the Golden Teacher strain, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, of course those are gonna like alter your state of consciousness a little bit more.
Right.
That's the only time I ever really noticed it. I still actually have the precognitive and premonition dreams to this day. So I don't know if that just sort of like, unblocked something for me. But I also was like starting to exercise like my dream journaling practice more at that time too. So it could have been a combination of things.
Yeah, I think that psychedelics, especially shrooms, will open up your mindset. You got to think about it. I always like to bring up ancestors and elders, how they did things back in the old times, right? They would do that all the time, just to get on a different spiritual level. And it wasn't looked at. Nowadays, if you tell a random person that, they're like, "Oh no, that's crazy." They're kind of backlash it. But back in that time, it was normal. Ancestors would do that all the time when they try to go to a different spiritual awakening. And there's people who still do that now. You'd be surprised who does it, honestly. So yeah, I think that it definitely does awaken your mind, your third eye, awakens your consciousness, awakens everything about you. So I'm not encouraging anybody to do it. You do it as you want to. You're an adult. Hopefully, everybody's listening here is an adult.
Yeah.
But you do on your own free will. But be careful whenever you do anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if I tell people, even if you try to talk to your own ancestors, be careful with that, right?
Yeah.
Because you think that it could be your ancestors you're talking to, it could be someone opposing as your ancestor, right? So I always tell people, hey, maybe go to a professional and get that done.
Yeah.
Because
do it in a
dangerous.
Ritualistic sense.
Exactly, right. It's dangerous, and ask your spirit guides for help as well,
and
protection as well, because your spirit guide will actually go and contact your ancestors. Let's say your grandmother, your spirit guide will go grab her and say, "Hey, come on, Tiara has something to say to you."
Yeah.
Or they come back with her. So, yeah, that's about it. Any more questions, Tiara? You want to talk about what you have going on now? You want to plug your YouTube, your Instagram, anything like that?
Sure, yeah. So I am definitely on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok if they don't ban it, Twitter.
Right.
And then in terms of my dream work lately, I have created a dream journal that I sell on Amazon. The link's in my bio for that. Really affordable. I believe everybody deserves access to, this sort of spiritual development for themselves. So that is that. And then I also have like a digital version of a dream journal if people are into that as well. And I have a recent YouTube video that I posted not that long ago talking all about how to unlock the secrets of your dreams. So,
oh, awesome.
Yeah.
You guys got to watch that video, guys. Go and check out her dream journal, her Amazon. The link is in her Instagram bio. So check out her Instagram, Tiara Alicia. And so thank you for coming in today, Tiara. Appreciate you always having a great conversation with you. And you have a lot of information that I enjoy talking with you.
Always. Thank you. I appreciate you, and I always enjoy our conversations too.
Thank you. In closing, I want to go ahead and read something for one of my favorite philosophers. His name is Alan Watts. And I talked about him in one of my podcasts as well. But I want to read something in closing, and then we're going to go ahead and end this. This is a speech that he did. Is a very long one, but I kind of took two parts and put them together because I find these two parts to be more memorable to me. It kind of spoke to me, which I thought it was amazing. Okay, and it reads, I believe that if we are honest with ourselves, that the most fascinating problem in the world is who am I? What do you mean? What do you feel when you say the words I, myself? I don't think there can be any more fascinating preoccupation than that because it's so mysterious. It's so elusive. Because what you are in your inmost being escapes your examination in rather the same way that you can't look directly into your own eyes without using a mirror. You can't bite your own teeth. You can't taste your own tongue. And you can't touch the tip of this finger with the tip of this finger. And that's why there's always an element of profound mystery in the problem of who we are. So there's a secret. What is esoteric, what is profound, and what is deep is what we will call the implicit. What is obvious and on the open is what we call the explicit. So I and my environment, you and your environment are explicitly as different can be. But implicitly, we go together. And this is discovered by the scientist when he tries, well, the whole art of science is to describe what happens exactly. And when he describes exactly what you do, he finds out that your behavior, is not something that can be separated from the behavior of the world around you. He realizes then that you are something that the whole world is doing. Just as when the sea has waves on it, all right, the ocean is waving. And so each one of us is a waving of the whole cosmos, the entire works, all there is. And with each one of us is waving and saying, yoo-hoo, here I am. Only it does it differently each time. Because variety is the spice of life. Until next time, guys. Peace. Say bye, Tiara.
Bye.